Hello guys, welcome to Camouphile. So my name is Shiv Singh and today in this video I am going to talk about Apple WWDC 18. As everyone know, Apple has WWDC every year in which they introduce some new kinds of softwares and some kinds of hardwares. So let's go ahead and see what we can expect now this time from WWDC 2018.
So guys, the first thing about which we are going to talk about is iOS 12. Well, every year Apple launches a new version of their iOS in WWDC, and this year will be the same. According to rumors, the core name of iOS 12 is likely to be Peace. The main feature which is going to involve in iOS 12 is allowing multi-cross apps, which means you can run the apps on both iOS and macOS. Also, there are many rumors about that there will be a wholly redesign stock apps, but according to rumors, there is also a major disappointment. Likely that Apple is mostly focused now. Apple most focus is on now these days is about stability. So according to rumors, there will be no redesign iOS 12 till iOS 12, and maybe we can see whole redesign iOS in 2019. Also, according to rumors, there will be a redesigned Do Not Disturb, which will be deeply integrated with Siri. Also, a new application which is a Shazam, which we guys know recently Apple purchased this app, will gain deeper hooks into iOS. Also, hopefully, we can see Apple AirPlay 2 in the iOS 12. Also, there are rumors about FaceTime. As we know, currently we can do a FaceTime call with single user only. There are upcoming rumors that like Skype, we can also from iOS 12 will able to do multi-user FaceTime calls. Okay guys, now let's talk about macOS. As I mentioned with iOS, one of the biggest features for the next version of macOS would be the merging of iOS and macOS apps. Apple reportedly plans to let people use a single set of apps that work equally well across its families of devices. This could be great for people living in the Apple ecosystem. In fact, it might even give the Mac App Store a new joy of life. As with pretty much every new Mac OS release, security will play a big part, especially with number of Mac vulnerabilities untethered in recent months. We might see some design tweaks too, along with control center updates. This could give iOS access to system preference, maybe new apps feature, and maybe an updated Apple menu. While I am not hopeful for an iTunes update, it could really do a rebuild. It's one of Apple's clunkiest apps that is awkward to navigate. We currently have no clue what the next version of macOS will be called. However, there's a good chance Apple will name it after another California region or landmark. Okay guys, now let's talk about Apple Watch OS. Apple improved the Apple Watch by leaps and bounds last year with the Apple Watch Series 3 and watch OS 4. This year we expect watch OS 5 at WWDC, and we hope for a slew of new Apple Watch features and improvements to make wearable even more compelling. Just like a redesigned OS, most people likely hope for a new watch faces. While I think Apple will add 2 or 3 new faces, I would like to see options for third-party app to control the faces. We keep hearing rumors about sleep tracking in watchOS 5. While this feature is lacking in app for Apple Watch currently now. Also, the problem is that most people need to charge their Apple Watches at night, so unless the next Apple Watch brings an even with bigger battery, it would probably go to waste. That could happen. A reliable Apple analyst claims that 2018 Apple Watch screen will be 15% bigger. Other updates could include podcast notes and calculator app finally making their way to Apple Watch, and maybe an always on mode, so the time remains visible without putting too much strain on battery. Okay guys, now let's talk about iPhone SE 2. The iPhone SE, one of the most loved iPhones ever, could see a sequel this year. According to a rumor of Apple's supply chain, the new iPhone SE Chu will be assembled by a Taiwanese manufacturer company named Wisdom. The design is likely to be the same as the current model according to China's Economic Daily News. It will pack the same 4-inch LCD display with a Touch ID button, an A10 processor and a 2 GB of RAM. Storage options are under rumor to be set at 32 GB and 128 GB, with the cheapest model around $450. Other rumors contradict this too. If those proves accurate, the new SE would include a glass back to allow for wireless charging like the iPhone 8, 8 Plus and 10. Okay guys, now let's talk about MacBooks. It's just not the Mac Pro that could see a refresh. Let's start with the MacBook, as the changes will probably be minimal, especially in terms of design. The MacBook is already super thin and light. The laptop could gain a new display from the LG with the 2560 cross 1600 resolution. Apple also might add a 13-inch MacBook, and also there are a lot of rumors around the world that there could be a new MacBook Air, but it is unlikely to be happen, because if we remember the last event in which Apple launched their new MacBook Pros, the head of hardware engineering from Apple team said that the Apple MacBook Pro, which is without touch bar, is the new version for the MacBook Air. So I don't think so that Apple will now launch a new MacBook Air. Also, there are a lot of rumors that Apple is already working on their new Mac Pro model. We remember that the last Mac Pro model was released in 2013, and as we also know that Mac Pro is the top lineup model of Macs. Apple highest end high throughout the desktop system designed for our demanding pro customers, according to Apple marketing chief Phil Schiller, will be very soon in the market. The new Mac Pro reportedly will in the cylindrical design and make it. Also, there will be new hardware which will easy to be upgradable. I think there will be also a new cooler system in the Mac Pro, which is now being used in the iMac Pro and new MacBook Pros. Okay guys, now let's talk about iPad Pro models. Last not but least, Apple WWDC 2018 might showcase some and updates to the iPad Pro models. Face ID will more likely be to its way out for the new iPad Pro, and with addition to which there would be a true depth camera, which means there will be no home button and there will be an edge-to-edge display, which will be very great for an iPad. If past release or anything to go by, the iPad Pro will feature an A11X Bionic chip. This would essentially be boosted a version of iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10's chip. Since I have added the iPhone 10, using my iPad Pro has become a bit awkward. I have grown used to the new gestures and lack of home button. If Apple brought all the loveliness to the iPad, I think it would have a winner. But what about the price? With the iPhone 10 coming in $1,000 for the base model, we can only imagine what the new Pro model start at.
Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel and like this video. And if you have any suggestions and questions, please comment down below and tell me guys what are you thinking about this time from WWDC. Thank you guys.